Welcome to part 5 of the Introduction to the Old Testament.
Tonga zo amin'ny ampahany fadimy amin'ny testamenta taloha.
We've been talking about the first 5 books of the Bible.
Niresatsika ny boky dimy voalohany amin'ny testamenta taloha. Tsy haiko raha hitanareo can they see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week we talked about Genesis and Exodus.
Tamin'ny herinandrotsika, tamin'ny lesona farantsika nijery ny Genesis sy Exodus.
This week we're going to go on to Leviticus and Numbers and perhaps Deuteronomy.
Amin'ity herinandro ity tsika dia hijery ny Levitikosy, Nomery ary angamba Deuteronomy rahatratra.
So where we left off last week was Moses was not going to make it into the promised land.
Tamin'ny lesona farany zany tsika dia teo amin'ny hoe Mosesy tsy ho tafiditra ao amin'ny tany Kanana.
He handed over the leadership of the nation of Israel to Joshua.
Nomeny an'i Joshua ny fitariana ny Israelita.
Now, all of this still is part of a narrative written by different sources.
Ty tantara ity zany dia mbola ao anatin'le hoe source anankidimy izay nanoratra anazy. Le tantara rehetra zany source anankidimy samihafa no manao an'izay.
Remember those 4 major sources we talked about.
Tadio le anankiefatra lehibe, source efatra lehibe.
And even as we leave Exodus and go into Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy, those 4 major sources will still be the source that the writings come from.
Na dia andao amin'ny bokin'ny Exodus ary tsika zao ka hiditra amin'ny Levitikosy, Nomery ary Deuteronomy dia tadina foana ireo source anankefatra ireo satria ireo zany mbola ao anatiny foana.
Remember, it was the Yahwist and the Elohist who wrote most of the narratives in Genesis and Exodus.
Ny resource tena niasa tao amin'ny Genesis sy Exodus zany dia ny Ahoista sy ny Elohista.
But in Leviticus and in much of Numbers, it's going to be a lot of the priestly writer.
Fa ny ao amin'ny Levitikosy sy ny Nomery indray dia ny ankabetsahany dia le mpisorona, mpanoratra mpisorona, atao hoe mpisorona, resource mpisorona.
Because Leviticus is all about the rules of the priesthood and the rules and rituals of the religion.
Satria ny ao amin'ny Levitikosy zany dia momba ny lalàna, momba ny rules about what?
Religion and the rituals.
Lalàna momba ny religion sy ny fombafomba.
And Numbers is going to be a lot about the population of the nation.
Dia ny ao amin'ny Nomery indray zany dia momba ny ankabetsahany ao dia momba ny population le firenena.
But it will also contain a lot of religious material.
Fa misy koa zany momba ny matériel religieux.
It's in those 2 books especially where we start getting the laws about their diet.
Ao anatin'ny Levitikosy sy ny Nomery ny tena ahitana ny lalàna momba ny fifadikanana.
And they start talking about the way things should not be mixed together.
Sy ny hoe inona ny zavatra tsy tokony hifangaro, tsy hifangaroaro.
For example, they say in the Hebrew law that you should not have meat and dairy on the same plate.
Ohatra zao amin'ny lalàna Hebreo tsy tokony hifangaro, tsy tokony hisy eo amin'ny vilia anankiray ny hena sy ny ronono.
They also say that you shouldn't make clothes out of different kinds of thread, like linen and cotton.
Na koa rehefa manao akanjo, ny akanjo tsy tokony karazan-damba anankiroa samihafa, tsy afaka hoe coton sy tsy mahay karazan-damba fa tsy tokony hifangaro zany ny coton sy ny zavatra anankiray hafa fa tokony ho ranoray fotsiny ihany.
They also say that you shouldn't plant different crops in the same field. Like you shouldn't have wheat and flax or barley.
Dia rehefa mamboly ihany koa tsy tokony ray tany ny zavatra ambolena.
But, and all of that sounds a little ridiculous to us.
Amintsika izany ohatran'ny hoe zavatra daladala idiot.
But
Ridicule.
but they were making a point.
Fa misy hevitra tiany zareo avoaka ao aminatiny, misy hevitra lehibe tiany avoaka ny ao anatin'izay.
Because this was written during the time when they were worried about the race of Israel, or the nation of Israel, intermarrying with other nations.
Satria zareo zany dia tena natahotra ny amin'le hoe manambady firenena hafa avy amin'ny firenena hafa sy ny relation ny amin'ny firenena hafa.
They had adopted the idea that the nation of Israel should be pure from foreign influence.
Zareo zany dia ny tena ny nanana an'izay ide zay hoe tsy tokony ifangaroaro amin'ny firenena mihitsy fa tokony mijanona pure, madio.
In Ezra and Nehemiah, for example, they say to get rid of any foreign spouses that you've married.
Ohatra zao amin'ny Ezra sy Nehemi dia miteny izy hoe ny vady vahiny avy amin'ny firenena hafa zany ilaina miala ifongorana amin'ny zareo, tsy ifangaroaro amin'ny zareo.
And even though Ezra was writing much, much later, it was still a continuation of this old idea.
Na dia efa tio aoriana lavitra be aty aoriana raha Ezra no nosoratana, mbola nitazona ity hevitra taty io izy.
So they adopted laws that said don't mix anything.
Ka lasa nanao an'iny lalàna io zany zareo hoe tsy afaka manafangaroaro zavatra hafa mihitsy, tsy tokony hisy mpangaroarona mihitsy zany.
Don't mix different threads in your clothes.
Tsy mila manafangaro zavatra atao amin'ny fitafy, tokony ray ihany zany fa tsy afangaroaro ny kofehy samihafa.
Don't mix different grains in your field.
Tsy mila manafangaroaro zavatra zay ambolena ihany koa.
Because what they really don't want is for Hebrews to marry non-Hebrews.
Satria ny tena zavatra voatra amin'izay zany dia hoe tsy tokony hanambady olona izay tsy hebreo.
And they wound up in Leviticus having many dietary laws too. Laws about nutrition.
Ary zay koa ny mahatonga ny ao amin'ny Levitikos manana ny izay lalàna momba ny fifadikanana izay.
You shouldn't eat shellfish, for example.
Tsy afaka mihinana, what's shellfish?
Like you shouldn't have like shrimp.
Tsy tokony
Clams.
manana fruits de mer zany fiantsoana azy, tsy tokony mihinana an'ireny.
You shouldn't eat pork.
Tsy tokony mihinana henan-kisoa.
In fact, they didn't want you eating any kind of animal that had a cloven hoof.
Tsy afaka mihinana biby izay manana ny misilaka roa ny tongony.
Now, there were good health reasons for that in those days.
Misy raison valable ny amin'izay tamin'izany fotoana izany.
A lot of people in that time were sick because they were eating pork that had not been preserved well.
Ohatra zao betsaka ny olona narary noho ny amin'ny fihinanana kisoa izay tsy voatahiry tsara.
And in a lot of the seafood, there was mercury poisoning.
Dia tahaka ny amin'ny fruits de mer misy poison sasany amin'izy ireny.
So what was actually a health concern wound up looking like a religious concern.
Ka ny hoe fanahina ara-pahasalamana lasa fanahina religion, lasa mivadika religion.
So, and that's why, long time later, in the New Testament, Peter has a dream.
Zay mahatonga ny Petera ary amin'ny testamenta vaovao aty aoriana be aty nanana nofy.
And he sees all these unclean animals being lowered down to him.
Le biby maloto latsaka avy any an-danitra tamin'ny lamba latsaka avy any an-danitra iny taditinareo angamba iny tantara iny.
And he hears the Lord say, "Wake up and eat this."
Dia teny anazy Andriamanitra hoe mifoaza dia hany reto.
And he doesn't want to because he thinks it's unclean.
Dia Petera nefa tsy te hihinana an'le izy satria mihevitra izy fa maloto reo.
He hears the Lord say, "If I say it's clean, then it's clean."
Fa ny tompo miteny hoe teny taminy hoe rehefa za miteny hoe madio reo dia madio.
Because now they were handling pork in much safer ways.
Satria aty amin'ny testamenta vaovaotsika zany zao ny fomba fikirakiran zareo any kisoa dia fa fomba hafa noho ny tany amin'ny testamenta taloha.
In fact, by Jesus' time, it is almost any animal can be eaten.
Tamin'ny fotoan'andron'i Jesosy, parapatonga amin'ny fotoan'andron'i Jesosy, ny ankabetsahan'ny biby dia fa azo hanina.
In fact, for the Romans, pork was their most popular meat.
Ho an'ny Romanina, ny hena zao kanefa ny lasa tena pork, ny hena kisoa ny lasa tena hena tena fihinana indrindra.
So, what we read in the Old Testament in these diet laws was simply a consideration for safely handling food.
Ka ny akamaroan'ny lalàna momba ny fifadikanana hitantsika any amin'ny Levitikosy dia noho ny antony ara-pahasalamana.
But they also were writing laws in Leviticus about how a priest should live.
Fa koa zareo manoratra lalàna ny amin'ny hoe maneho ny lalàna hoe ahoana ny fomba fiainan'ny mpisorona.
They wrote about how the temple should be constructed, or rather, the tabernacle, how the tabernacle should be constructed.
Manoratra koa zareo ny momba ny hoe ahoana ny tokony fanamboarana sy fanaovana ny tabernakely.
And the tabernacle that Moses had made in Exodus was now being reproduced in Israel.
Ka le tabernakely izay nataony izay nisy tany amin'ny Exodosy, iny indray zany no averina atao kopia aty amin'ny Levitikosy.
But first, they have to get there to Israel. Sorry.
Le tabernakely izay nisy tamin'ny fotoan'andron'i Mosesy, iny indray zany no lasa atao kopia averina aty amin'ny firenena Israelita. Fa ilaina aloha zany hoe ho tonga any amin'ny tany Kanana aloha zany zareo zay vao afaka manao izay.
So many of these laws that are being composed were written on the way to Israel.
Ka ny akamaroany reto lalàna izay voasoratra reto zany dia andalana zareo andalana mandeha makany amin'ny tany Kanana.
But they wouldn't take their final shape for many, many centuries.
Ary tsy tena final reo lalànareo raha tsy mbola amanjato taona teo aoriana.
While some of the stories were written by those first two sources, the laws are added later.
Lalàna dia miampy taty afara na dia ireo source anankiroa lehibe reo ara no nanoratra azy.
And Numbers is concerned with showing how the nation is populated.
Ny bokin'ny Nomery indray dia maneho ny hoe ahoana no nampafeno olona tamin'ity firenena iray ity.
The nation was led by, or was divided into 12 different tribes.
Ny firenena dia nizarazara foko roa ambin'ny folo.
There were 12 sons of Jacob that we discovered in the book of Genesis.
Nananjanaka 12 I Jakoba zay fahitantsika tany amin'ny bokin'ny Genesis.
But these 12 tribes are not all named after the 12 sons of Jacob.
Reto foko 12 reto akory tsy nahazo ny anarany avy amin'ny reo zaza 12 reo.
Because Levi, for example, actually said Levi, they become the Levite priests, so they don't have a tribe and land on their own.
Ohatra zao Levi de zareo no mpisorona ary tsy manana hoe tany ho an'ny zareo satria zareo mpisorona tsy manana hoe tany ho an'ny zareo manokana zareo akory.
And there will be no tribe named after Joseph either.
Ary tsisy foko hitondra ny anarana hoe Josefa ihany koa ohatra.
Instead, in order to make up 12 tribes, the 2 sons of Joseph will have their own tribes.
Fa mba nahatonga le izy ho foko 12 de satria ny zanako Josefa anankiroa lasa nanana zanako Josefa anankiroa no lasa foko roa ka lasa nanome an'le total ho 12 zany.
So 10 of the tribes are named after Jacob's sons, and 2 of the tribes are named after his grandsons.
Ka ny foko 10 zany de nitondra ny anarany zanako Jakoba 12, zanako Jakoba anankifolo, fa ny foko roa ndray de nitondra ny anarany zafikeliny Josefa, de zay mamy azo foko 12.
And when they get into the promised land, they will divide up lands among the 12 tribes.
Ary rehefa tonga ao amin'ny tany Kanana zareo de ho zarazaraina arak'ireo foko 12 ireo ny tany izay ipetrahany.
And one of the tribes, the tribe of Manasseh, will actually be in 2 different places with the river, the Jordan River, dividing them.
Ary ny fokon'ny Manasse de itoetra amin'ny toerana roa samihafa andany sy ankilan'ny ony Jordan. The Jordan River? Yep, ony Jordan.
Okay. But it will be a long time before that gets established.
Fa mbola tena lavitra ty aoriana be zany zavatra zany zay vao tanteraka.
But the first 4 books that we have, the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, are all the early establishment of the nation of Israel.
Ny boky efatra voalohany hitantsika Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus ary Numeri de reo no anisan'ny hoe efa zavatra mitoetra they were established.
They were established early on in the early days of the nation.
Ka reo efa boky efatra reo zany efa établi taty am-piandohana.
Deuteronomy will be the last one that will be written.
Deuteronomy ny boky farany izay vao soratra.
And like I told you in an earlier class, these are called the books of Moses sometimes.
Araky ny efa tenenansika tary am-piandohana taloha zany matetika ireto boky reto de antsoina hoe bokon'ny Mosesy.
But it doesn't mean that they were written by Moses.
Fa tsy midika akory hoe Mosesy nanoratra azy reo.
It just means that Moses is the main character.
Midika fotsiny hoe Mosesy ny tena rôle tam'le izy.
Because when we get to the book of Deuteronomy,
Rehefa tonga amin'ny bokon'ny Deuteronomy isika,
it contains material that was written after Moses, long after Moses' death.
de zavatra hitansika ao amin'ny Deuteronomy de material izay materials that were already there before.
No, they were written long after Moses was dead.
Ny bokon'ny Deuteronomy de efa maty efa ela I Mosesy no voasoratra ny akabetsahany material ao amin'ny Deuteronomy.
In fact, most of these things were written somewhere in the 700s, or finished by the 700s
Ny ankamaroany the first
and
four
600s.
books.
First four books, they're kind of finished by the 700s.
Ny boky efatra voalohany zany teo amin'ny 700s, 700, année 700 no voasoratra, no efa voasoratra. Fa ny Deuteronomy zany efa taty aoriana, efa maty efa elo i Mosesy no voasoratra ny Deuteronomy.
And for a period, a lot of the material was lost.
Ny
For a
akam-
time period, yeah.
Ya, nisy fotoana zany hoe very ireo soratra ireo taloha.
And so,
Nisy fotoana nahavera ireo soratra ireo.
during the reign of King Josiah,
Nandritry Josiah, nandritry ny nanjakany mpanjaka Josiah. Josiah ve ny anarany amin'ny teny gasy?
they discovered the scroll of Deuteronomy in the temple.
Hitan zareo ny bokin'ny Deuteronomy tamin'ny nanjakany mpanjaka Josiah.
It was supposed to have been in a storage room.
Ohatrany hoe tany anaty fitehirizan'entana tany nahitana anazy.
And they found it and thought, here we have the law.
Dia nieritreritra zareo hoe no nihitany zareo ilay izy dia reto angamba ny lalàna.
But what they had was a second telling of the law.
Fa ny tena nanany zareo dia ny fitantarana ny lalàna efa deuxième interprétation ny lalàna zany.
In fact, that's what Deuteronomy means. Deutero, meaning second, and nomos, a Greek word meaning law. So Deuteronomy was a second law.
Zay indrindra mahatonga an'ilay anarana hoe Deuteronomy. Means midika hoe roa, dia ny oronomy midika hoe lalàna, zany hoe fanambarana ny lalàna fanondroana.
Right. And it is not identical to the law that we see in Exodus.
Ary tsy mitovy amin'ilay lalàna izay hitantsika any amin'ny Exodus.
So we can estimate that this law was being passed down by word of mouth, and so when it was copied, it doesn't look exactly the same.
Ka ny vinavina zany dia hoe ity lalàna ity dia pasy tamin'ny alalan'ny vava, fitantarana ambava zany, ka noho ny efa voasoratra ilay izy aty amin'ny Deuteronomy tsy dia tena mitovy araka ny any amin'ny tany amin'ny Exodus.
Because King Josiah was trying to create a reform in Israel's religion.
I mpanjaka Josiah dia niezaka nanao reformation ny amin'ny what was he trying to reform?
Israelite religion.
Ny religion any Israel.
And so to do that, he desperately needed the law, the
Ary ny
teachings.
ahafahany manao an'izany dia tena ilainy ny lalàna na ny fampianarana.
Some people think that maybe Josiah even had the prophet Jeremiah to write down the book of Deuteronomy.
Sasany ara mieritreritra fa i Josiah dia nilaza any mpaminany Jeremy hanoratra ny bokin'ny Deuteronomy.
And if it wasn't Jeremiah, maybe it was his scribe named Baruch.
Ary raha tsy Jeremy nanoratra ny Deuteronomy dia ngambany le sekreterany antsoina hoe Baruch.
And Baruch probably had a lot to do with the editing and compiling of all of this material.
Ary angamba i Barukako no tena no editeur an'ireto boky anankidimy reto.
And even though most
Sy
people
nanatambatra an'ireto boky dimy reto.
even though most people don't know the name Baruch, he is one of the most important figures in the history of the Old Testament writings.
Na dia betsaka raha ny olona tsy mahafantatra ny anaran'ny Baroka, izy no anisany olona lehibe indrindra nanambatra ny reto boky dimy reto.
In fact, he is the one who writes down most of Jeremiah's prophecies.
En effet, i Baroka ty zany no nanoratra ny profesia, ny akamaroan'ny profesia an Jeremia.
When Jeremiah gives what's called the temple sermon, it's Baruch who writes it down.
Rehefa ny Jeremia no nanome an'le toriteny, nanao an'le toriteny momba ny tempoly, le toriteny momba ny tempoly, dia i Baroka no nanoratra ny toriteny Jeremia.
And much later, when Jeremiah is taken away into exile in Egypt,
Rehefa nentina handevo exil, rehefa nentina nandeha exil Jeremia, dia he was exiled where?
Egypt,
Rehefa nentina ho an exil any Egypte zany Jeremia, dia
Jeremiah will die in Egypt.
I Jeremia ho faty any Egypte any izy.
And Baruch is left to wander alone.
Dia Baroka no lasa nirenirenirery.
And Baruch says that he was told by the Lord that he would be given his life.
Ary Baroka dia nahazo teny avy amin'Andriamanitra fa ahazo ny given his life too.
Given his life, he would be allowed to live.
Fa i Baroka zany dia nahazo teny avy amin'Andriamanitra fa tsy ho faty izy fa hanana ny fiainany.
He wouldn't be rich,
Tsy ho anakarena izy akory,
but he would be safe.
fa ho en sécurité.
And also his name would be made known.
Ary ny anarany dia ho atao ho fantadaza.
Now, of all the writings of the Bible, we don't have anything that is from the original writers. All the writings of the Bible.
Amin'ny soratra rehetra ao amin'ny Baiboly zany dia tsy manana hoe ito ny mpanoratra original.
The original documents of the Old Testament were long gone. We only have copies of copies of copies of copies.
Ny original rehetra zany efa very efatry ny ela, fa ny ananantsika dia copie hatrany hatrany. Copie.
The same is true of the New Testament.
Zany koa dia mitombina marina amin'ny testamenta vaovao.
The earliest copy we have is of the Gospel of John, and it is probably 60 years older, 60 years after the writing.
Ny copie ananana voalohany indrindra zany hoe récent indrindra zany dia ny copie ny John. What about the 60 years?
That it was, the first copy we have was 60 years after the original.
Ny copie ananantsika ny John zany 60 ans après an'le original io copie ananantsika io.
And those scrolls had to be replaced every 20 years.
Ary reny ahorona taratasy reny zany tsy maintsy remplacena isaky ny 20 ans.
So the copy of the earliest fragment of John that we have has been copied at least 4 times.
Ka ny copie ny bokin'ny John io zany ny bokin'ny John io efa inefatra ny natao copie.
But there was an excavation done in Israel.
What's excavation?
Archaeology digging
Where?
in Israel.
Nisy na fiangadiana zany tamin'ny firenena Israely.
And they found these jars that had seals on them.
Dia nahita tavoahangy zareo izay misarona mafy tsara tamin'izany hoe nangady ady zany zareo dia nahita an'io ohatran'ny karazana tavoahangy io nisy inona tao anatiny ho teneny antsika.
And they would take, to make those seals, they would take cloth and dip it in like plaster water and then wrap it over the top of the jar and let it dry, and it becomes a hard seal.
Ka ny fomba anidina ty tavoahangy ty zany, maka karazana lamba zareo de ataony ao anatin'ny tany angamba izy de lasa plâtre le izy, de iny no asarona am'le tavoahangy zany, de lasa noho ny efa maina le lamba de lasa ohatran'ny plâtre be misarona ilay tavoahangy.
And they found one of these seals in a cave.
Ary nahita n'io zavatra io zareo tao anatin'ny kava iray zay.
And that seal was still intact.
Ary io fanidina azy io zany mbola intact, mbola tsisy nikitika, mbola tsisy
And written on that seal was Baruch.
Ary ny soratra eo ao tapony am'le saron'le tavoahangy iny zany hoe Baruch.
And they think it was old enough that this was actually signed by Baruch himself.
Ary mihevitra zareo zany fa hoe tena Baruka marina no nanao siniany ty zavatra ty container ty zany.
So the promise that Baruch received from the Lord was true in that he's the only one whose original writings still exist.
Ka ny teny faminaniana hoe le promesse zany hoe tsy ho faty Baruka, io soratra an-tanany Baruka io no tena hoe ahafantarana hoe tena nisy tokoa i Baruka.
But this is all happening somewhere around the year 600 BC.
Fa zany zavatra zany zany de période 600 BC.
And that was a very important period of time.
Ary période important zay période 600 BC zay. Before Christ mo BC.
In around the year 600 BC, 600 BC,
nandritry n'io fepitaona 600 avant Jésus-Christ io.
Most of the Pentateuch is taking its final shape.
Ny akamaroany, ny ankabetsahany bokin'ny Pentateuka de efa maka ny formany zany. Tandritry ny tamin'ny taona.
In that same time, we have Jeremiah and Baruch.
Nandritry zay fepitaona zay koa misy an Jeremia sy Baruch.
Yeah. And it is the beginning of the end of the first period of Israel's history.
It was the beginning of the end of the Israel.
It is also the end of the first period of Israel's history.
Fiafaran'ny io taona io koa zany no nanamarika ny hoe fiafaran'ny taonany tantaran'i Israel.
Because in 586, Jerusalem is going to be destroyed.
Satria 586 avant Jésus-Christ, Jérusalem de irodana.
And so that will be the end of Israel as a government, as a state.
Ary zay ny fiafaran'ny Israely en tant que gouvernement, en tant que État.
And the people, most of them, will be taken away to Babylon.
Ary ireo ny akabetsan'ireo oloreo de ho lasa en exil.
But before we get to there, we're going to go back to Joshua.
Lotsika iverina kely any amin'ny Joshua.
Joshua was also written by those original four sources.
Joshua koa de nosoratan'ireo sorsa efatra ireo.
So it was Judges.
Eo koa ny bokin'ny Mpitsara.
We have, sorry, in Joshua and Judges, it is the story of Israel after they've gotten back to the promised land, but before the time of the kings.
Repeat that again.
So, Joshua and Judges is the period after they've gotten back to the promised land. They've left Egypt, they're back in the promised land, but it's before the time of the kings.
Okay. Ny bokin'ny Joshua sy ny bokin'ny Mpitsara dia voasoratra taorinan'ny zareo miverina efa avy tany Egipta zany zareo dia miverina dia tonga any amin'ny tany Kanana fa tsy mbola nisy mpanjaka tamin'izay fotoan'izay.
So,
Talohan'ny fanjakana zany, talohan'ny nisy ny mpanjaka.
before we get too far, now let's stop and look back at the time frame, the timeline.
Alohan'ny androsontsika aloha kokoa dia aloha jerentsika ny taona, fepitaona.
1800 BC is probably the time of Abraham.
Taona 1800 avant Jésus-Christ dia tanoany zany angamba no nisy an'i Abraham.
Then there will be Isaac and Jacob and Esau.
Dia avy eo Isaia dia Jacoba dia Esau.
And then somewhere around 1250 BC is Moses and the Exodus.
Dia tamin'ny taona 1250 fepitaona no nisy an'i Mosesy sy Exodus sy ny bokin'ny Exodus.
And then we will, this is, well, let me say, that around the year 1050 will be the kingdom.
Dia ny taona 1050 dia fepitaona ny fanjakana.
The kingdom of Saul.